Well, hello everyone. So if you have found this video, there may be a message in here for you, but please keep in mind that the guidance in here are for my students in the Sacred Partnerships course, and more details of that is in the description below. So diving right into the reading, and the creator wants to start talking about the themes or the feelings that you may have in your heart, and those are about reflection and about soulmates. So, diving right into those two cards that speak to those things. So, the reflection card had popped out, and this card says, "Give each other some space at the moment. Trust and have faith that all will work out for the best." And this is where it goes to the force versus flow. Where are you trying to force things to happen rather than allowing it to flow naturally? Oftentimes in relationships, we want to resolve something quickly right on the spot, but sometimes it does take time. So if you are in a relationship and experiencing a bit of that block or resistance, step back a little bit. Give it some space. Give yourself some space and give your significant other space also. And by doing that, it feels like things will fall into place. So I'm hearing that for some of you who are in relationships, and if you are experiencing some sort of a disagreement, it's time to step away, and that space is going to allow things to happen and flow naturally. So going on to the soulmate card that had popped out, and this card says your soulmate is already with you in spirit. Believe this and they will manifest physically. So this card speaks to more to those who are looking for their compatible life partner. And I prefer to use the term compatible life partner because we are looking for someone who matches our vibration but are also willing to evolve and learn with us. And so that is more of a lifelong relationship. So this card is speaking more about that force versus flow once again. So know that your soulmate or soulmates are with you and connected with you energetically, spiritually. They will eventually appear physically in your life. So you might be wondering, why did I say soulmates? It's because in the Sacred Partnerships class, we're talking about different soulmates, not just our lifelong romantic partners, but also friends. It could also be our relationship to the earth. Also, that could be a soulmate relationship. And also relationship to plant medicines, because we are also using plant medicines to help us heal ourselves and our relationships. So soulmates could also be in form of a pet. So keep in mind and be open to how soulmates appear in your life, because those soulmates may need to appear first so that you can learn your life lessons before you can actually meet your compatible life soulmate. So keep that in mind and be very open. Those soulmates could already exist in your life right now, and it's time to perhaps deepen those connections. So we will explore more of that in the upcoming online Zoom meetings. So reflection and soulmate, two things that you will need to explore at this time. So those are the matters of the heart and connections that will be teaching you some lessons. So the next thing that the creator wants to talk about is the energy flow that's coming, and how can reflection and soulmate, the messages within those cards, could play into it. So going now into my Moonology cards. So I feel like these two cards had popped out in the previous reading, which means that in our group, these things are still being worked out or need to have some sort of a closure, perhaps. And again, don't be stuck on the word closure. Remember what the creator said. There's a difference between force and flow. So give yourself some time and space to reflect. Give yourself some space. Give your significant other or your soulmates some space. And then the closure could possibly just happen on its own naturally. So the first card is a personal issue reaches resolution. So I feel like I already channeled the message behind this card. So there are some, I'm hearing the word finalize and finalization happening. So I feel like this is also related to work. Some of you are closing your relationship to a work or to a company and moving on. And it could be other things also. Perhaps you need to close your friendships or other connections that's no longer serving you. And when we do those things out of love and really close those relationships, it opens up so much more space for positive people, opportunities, and situations to come in. So know that it is coming to a conclusion, all those things that you've been wanting closures on. The next card I know for sure had come out in the previous reading, and I'm laughing because it's another nudge from the creator saying some of you are not stepping out of your comfort zone. So that's the next card, step out of your comfort zone. So where can you do more of that? If you already have been doing that, ask yourself, how can you step it up a little bit? How can you really go wild in a responsible way and level up? And what would that look and feel like to you? If you need inspiration, try to find someone who is already doing things that you desire to do and study their path to it. And it's not about copying or emulating what they have done to get to where they are, but it's all about understanding how they got there, what sort of energy or learnings they acquire to get to that state. And if those are the similar learnings that you also need to learn. And find your own style, your own unique way to get to the next point, point B. I'm hearing creator and some of your spirit guides say find your North Star. So this is all about finding what resonates with you, but learning from others so you get some inspiration also, which will eventually lead you to stepping into your own authenticity. And how wonderful that the next card says luck is on your side. So keep stepping out of your comfort zones in ways that feel good to you and resonate with you. And make sure when you're trying to step out of your comfort zones, be realistic. Are you stepping out of your comfort zone but still trying to stay within the safety net, the safe zone? And take a note of that and go, okay, I'm doing this first step because it feels safe to do so right now, but how can I really test myself and test my sense of safety in a responsible way and really level it up? So always tune in and check in with yourself. How can I challenge myself a little bit more each time in a way that feels good to me, and also in a way that is creating results that feel good to me and is in alignment within my soul's purpose? So going now into the goddesses who have come out, and they do want to give you assistance in stepping out of your comfort zone and bringing luck to you. So be very aware and conscious of opportunities, events, or situations or connections that might suddenly happen for you. These are your spirit team and perhaps these goddesses' way of supporting you and saying, we're trying to create these moments of luck so that you can fully step into who you are and release yourself from those really old fears that's just not serving you anymore. And we really want you to learn your lessons. So the first goddess that had come out is Oonagh, and she says, easy does it. So how wonderful that things are so easy because all these lucky breaks are happening for you. So what else does Oonagh want to say? And she says, there is no need to hurry or force things to happen. Everything is occurring in perfect timing. So this goes back to the first card about the matters of the heart, and the card called Reflection spoke to that, the difference between force and flow. So know that everything is within divine timing, and divine timing is essentially things happening when they need to. So really flow with it. And you know when you're not flowing with things, when you're trying to force it to happen, or you're resisting and not allowing things to happen. So drop the resistance. Note where you're resisting something or where you're trying to force things, and ask yourself why. Because the moment we ask ourselves why, we are bringing our awareness to that feeling and moment. And when you find the reasons why, you might be able to connect to the old trauma that is creating that resistance. And then try to release that resistance by noting the lesson that you are learning from that resistance. And by doing that, you could automatically heal yourself and release yourself from that force, that forceful energy, or the resistance. So, and I keep seeing everything is occurring in perfect timing, and luck is on your side, repeating over and over in front of me. So once you drop the resistance, drop the force, then everything will happen for you naturally. The next goddess, Sige, is saying quiet time. And this goes back to reflection again. So a lot of that is needing to happen. And Sige is saying, take some quiet time alone to rest, meditate, and contemplate. It's very interesting because reflection, quiet time, meditate, and contemplate, that was a very consistent message in my Patreon community. Or right now, I'm actually channeling the messages within the spirit of colors. So I've asked the members in my Patreon community to give a name for their favorite colors, and I am now channeling messages from their favorite colors. And meditate, contemplate, and reflection, and having that quiet time was a very consistent and very dominant message. So, and this message is actually quite consistent in my other YouTube videos. And it's really Spirit's way of saying this is the only time, the time that you are quiet and you're still, that's when we could drop in those moments of insight and guidance, or aha moments that you really need right now. But you really need to quiet your monkey mind before we can do that. So try to set aside that quiet time, whether it's 2 to 5 minutes. They just need those sliver of moments or a sliver of time to drop in massive downloads. So do schedule in those quiet moments. So Nemetona is the next goddess, and I feel like she will speak more to that ability to, or suggest, she's saying, so she's correcting me here, suggest ways for you to set aside those few minutes where you could receive that massive download or insight. So she is talking about sacred space. And she says, create an altar or visit a power place to connect with the divine. So I feel like she may have popped out before. And the reason why I'm saying that is I feel like this whole message about setting a sacred space and time and ritual is very, very important throughout this course, and also throughout your life, because that's the only time where we could really center ourselves, connect to our heart, and connect to Spirit. And we're creating that opening, that portal to open, so Spirit could come in and give you guidance that you truly need. So do set aside that sacred space, time, or create that ritual. So going on now into the Rose Oracle cards, and Rose Spirit Plant is so good with healing things and related to the heart. So the first card that popped out is the Sacred Union. And she says, beloved within inner and outer relationships. And what Rose Spirit is saying here, and it's repeating what the other messages are in this reading, but creating that inner union, which is creating that sacred space, time, and ritual for you to connect with yourself and to spirit. And from there, the guidance, insights, even the day-to-day signs from spirit that you see in your awakened state, it will lead you to the connections, the people, the soulmates, and that will lead to the outer relationships. So start with the inner relationship, and then the relationship to spirit and the divine, and then the outer relationships will all unfold. It's like a ripple effect, Rose Spirit is saying. The next thing she wants to say, and the card here says the rose thread, inner call, soul-led, the mystic, living courageously. And Rose Spirit, I don't know why, she's laughing and saying, we keep telling you. So this goes back to stepping out of your comfort zone. So what are you not doing? Why are you still continuing to stay in that safe zone? So for those of you in my class, you're welcome to send me an email if any insights or thoughts come in of how you may be staying in your safe zone, and I'll connect with the spirit world and the creator and ask them what are the negative beliefs, the healing, and the downloads that need to be dealt with in the next circle. So, and I'm just being quiet here, tuning in to see what else that card wants to say, but I'm hearing Rose Spirit saying, nope, I am done, and I want to move on to the last card. So the last one is the breathing rose. Heart healing, emotion, connection, time eases. So this card is talking about, again, connecting to yourself, the heart, inner connection first, and the outer ones will follow. And the word emotions here, it's really standing out to me. So really connect with the emotions that may come to the surface, because as we do our own healing work, the next layer is being pulled up to the surface. So that's the next trigger. So what's that emotion telling you? Is it referring you to you wanting to stay within your safe zone? What's the fear that's leashing you to that fear and keeping you fenced in? And what are the other fears about relationships? So we're going to go much deeper into that in the future circles. And the last thing that the Rose Spirit wants to talk about is time eases. So this goes back again to the force versus flow. Let your resistance down, because the reason why this message is coming up again is because it didn't go in the first time. So note where you may be forcing things, note where you may be resisting things, and why the resistance. And have you responded in that way before? And is it a repeated pattern, or is it a completely new pattern? If it is, that means there's something else that needs to be released, something new, which means you can now mark that lesson in the future as learned, completed, and finished. And it's so important to mark our lessons or see the learnings as we live, because that's the only way to release ourselves from the fear. So that's all that they want to say. So I look forward to seeing you all in the next circle.